Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I am back with the second episode of Road to Ranked for the VGC 2016 format. If you've not seen the first episode already, definitely check it out. It's in the description below, and for those that don't know, you can now play VGC 2016 on BattleSpot if you click the special rules set. So yeah, just gonna continue laddering up with the team, probably gonna try to just get to the 1600s and then switch my team. So if you have any suggestions for what you want to see in the future, definitely let me know in the comments below. Thanks to everyone who came out and supported the first episode. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. And we're gonna find Nips from New York with a rating of 1487 for our first opponent of the day. As always, if you enjoy Road to Rank, please share your support by leaving a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Of course, I am still running the Groudon Palkia team, which we debuted in a Showdown Throwdown a while back, and then I used it at the Brooklyn Premiere Challenge, and I figured I just want to get it a couple of episodes in with me playing in-game with it. So, Nips here has got a team of Zekrom, Landorus, Kangaskhan, Groudon, Gengar, and Amoonguss. So, we actually have, 4 of the 6 same Pokemon in Kangaskhan, Landorus, Amoonguss, and Groudon. Gengar here, could have 2 means of speed control in Icy Wind or Trick Room. Both are typically seen, so... Or not, Trick Room's not typically seen, but it is something that can be viable. Now, the Zekrom here is probably the most interesting thing on his team. You actually don't really know what Zekrom can do, so pretty interested in seeing what it has to really offer. So let's see, in this matchup, I feel like I can actually go for the skill swap onto my Groudon, and then my Groudon can kind of sweep through, so I'm a fan of that strategy. So I do like leading Cresselia here. The Gengar on my opponent's side does deter me a little bit from bringing or leading my Kangaskhan. But I do still have Scrappy. But I think I'm going to go with Cresselia Landorus to get an Intimidate off, with Groudon and Palkia in the back. Yeah, I like those 4. So I'm opting not to bring my Mega Kangaskhan in this matchup, but that's because he's got Intimidate with Landorus, he's got Redirection support from Amoonguss, and he's got Gengar. And not to mention his own Mega Kangaskhan, so I would rather not deal with all of those. So he is going to lead with Zekrom on Groudon, okay. So both legendaries coming out instantly against my Cresselia and Landorus. I think this should be pretty good. I mean, I can kind of just Helping Hand Earthquake immediately. So still I'm not very sure what Zekrom can even offer, but I am the fastest Pokemon right now. He of course is going to Primal Evolve. I could go for the Trick Room as well, but I think this first time I just honestly want to Helping Hand Earthquake and see what he does. Though I guess he could switch into his Landorus. But if I Trick Room, I don't get much mileage out. Actually, I guess I could Earthquake Trick Room. And then I could Skill Swap. Yeah, I mean, that was my original plan. So I'm gonna do that, actually. Yeah. Yeah, I'll just Trick Room and Earthquake. And he is intimidated, so if he's Physical Groudon with Precipice Blades, then his damage output is significantly reduced. But most Groudons typically run a special fire type attack as opposed to Fire Punch, such as Eruption, Overheat, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, all those, just because they're really strong, they're not affected by Intimidate. So, really curious what the Zekrom's going to do right now. I think his best play is to probably switch out, but he actually just allows me to Earthquake here, which is pretty ideal, especially if I get the Trick Room up and he knocks out my Landorus. So yeah, Helping Hand there would have been nice since I would have just knocked out Zekrom. And he actually goes for the Draco Meteor there with Zekrom onto my Landorus, but given that I'm Assault Vested, I might be able to survive this. I'd actually rather have him knock me out though, so I get the switch in, but not the case there. Does good damage though, and he's Life Orbed as well. That's pretty cool. And the Overheat comes out from the Groudon, hopefully targeting Landorus as well. Yeah. So that works out perfectly. I mean, that's exactly what I was kind of hoping he would do there, as he doubles up onto my Landorus slot, but Landorus did exactly what it needed to, and now I get the free switch into my Groudon, and Trick Room is successfully set up. Though if he has a Amoonguss, that could be a slight concern, but right now I can actually just go for Helping Hand Eruption. I don't even have to Skill Swap, which is pretty nice. But I kind of still want to Skill Swap. Yeah, I mean, he's at -2 special attack, so he's not doing anything, and once I get the Skill Swap off, he can't even touch my Groudon with his Groudon. So I'm going to Skill Swap Eruption this turn. And the Eruption here covers any switch-ins he has. If my opponent has a Amoonguss in the back, what he can do is sacrifice the Zekrom and get the free switch into Amoonguss, because it's Amoonguss then can actually Spore. But the thing is, once I do get the Levitate onto my Groudon, then he really can't do anything against me. So That's what I was kind of going for right from the beginning. Honestly, the Help Me Hand Earthquake play also would have been really good because he wouldn't have even knocked out my Landers. Of course, Earthquake wouldn't have knocked out Groudon since you see how bulky it is, but it certainly would have taken out Zekrom, so he wouldn't have gotten a Draco Meteor off, and he would have been at -2 special attack. And I think my Landers can survive an Overheat, depends on how much special attack investment he has. But he's going to withdraw the Groudon here, which I'm okay with since I'm going for the Eruption here. Gengar's coming in, which I'm okay with as well, so that Gengar is going to go down to its presumed Focus Sash. No Protect coming out from Zekrom either, so he's probably hoping I'd go for a ground type attack like Earth Power into that slot, but, you know, there's not much reason to do that right now. I feel like I've got the perfect setup with my Cresselia and Groudon, and as I mentioned in Team Preview, that was basically what I was going for. However, this can allow him to set up and bring in a Mungus, but right now, I know that his Gengar cannot really do anything against my Groudon other than Shadow Balls, which is like a 4-hit or a 5-hit KO, since my Groudon's really specially bulky. His Groudon right now can go for fire type attacks, but ground type attacks do not affect my Groudon at this point, and it really comes down to his last Pokemon. It is going to be that Kangaskhan, which is a pretty good last Pokemon to have here, but I still have 3 turns of Trick Room, which is quite solid. So he could Power Up Punch here, but even if he Power Up Punches, it's not going to help him very much. I'll just let him go for a Fake Out onto my Groudon. Yeah, I'm just actually going to Ice Beam Gengar to make sure it doesn't get anything off in Eruption here. Right now, the one thing I'm scared of, you know, Kangaskhan's a Pokemon that can always bring a match back into your favor, especially if it has Power Up Punch. Power Up Punch does put on a little bit more pressure with Sucker Punch as well, so I'm just going to force him to go for the Fake Out here, but as you see here, he didn't go for the Fake Out, hoping I would probably Protect or something like that, so not going to give that to him. Going to be able to eliminate the Gengar, and full powered Eruption single target here will be able to knock out the Kangaskhan unless he's super bulky. Yep, nice. Very, very clean, well thought out game, I would say. I think matchup was into my favor. He didn't bring a Mungus, which was probably his best answer to deal with, the Trick Room. But in general, once I got the skill swap off onto my Groudon, that was basically game, I would say. And as long as I conserved my Groudon well enough, he didn't really have many great answers to it. So it's pretty cool to see the Zekrom there, but unfortunately he didn't do very much other than get a powerful Life Orb Draco Meteor off. I think Zekrom definitely has its uses in this format. So far, a lot of legendaries have been pretty viable. Obviously, you see the Primals, Rayquaza, Xerneas as the most common for, but, you know, I'm obviously running Palkia. John Hu ran Ho-Oh on his team, which he won the Premier Challenge with, and then we see other things like Dialga, which I know a bunch of really good players were using as well. So we have already seen a bunch of really viable legendaries. Zekrom, not as viable, but still pretty interesting as we do pick up a win in the first game of today's episode. So I think one nice thing about Zekrom is that it can really shut down Primal Kyogre, like you can just easily knock it out with the Life Orb boost, but the thing is it is really frail. You saw the Earthquake from normal Landers did so much damage to it, so that is something you do have to watch out for if you are using Zekrom, and you know, it's not a Pokemon I can actually talk extensively about just because I actually haven't seen it too much, but I'm curious about it, and, you know, it's maybe something I want to explore going into the future. But we're going to find Kiro from Italy with the rating of 1532 for our next opponent. So let's see. Kiro's rocking a team of, and as I mentioned, Dialga. We do see a Dialga here. So we've got Dialga, Kyogre, Crobat, Raichu, Landorus T, and Altaria. So the Altaria is by far the most interesting thing here. It's the only Pokemon on my opponent's team that can Mega Evolve, so most likely the Mega Evolution, and it's probably going to want to take advantage of its ability by getting rid of the weather. So pretty cool to see that. This is actually going to be my first game against Mega Altaria in all of VGC 2016, both on Showdown and Battle Spot, and in tournament play. So let's see what I want to lead with. He actually has two options. Crobat here can Trick Room, or can Tailwind, excuse me, whereas Dialga here has the ability to Trick Room. Raichu here does have Fake Out and Encore, so I do have to watch out for that. I do like leading with my Kangaskhan though, because I can still just Double Edge and get damage off immediately. So I'm going to go with Kangaskhan. Groudon's really good here. I think I might have to take advantage of Cresselia here. I do also want to eliminate the Altaria as quickly as possible. I don't know, Mungus honestly is pretty decent here too. I can just kind of Spore things. But this is one of the games where all my Pokemon are quite viable. I'm going to lead Kangaskhan and Cresselia. No, I kind of want more offense. Let's go Kangaskhan, Palkia. Yeah, I like that. Definitely want Groudon. Cresselia for skill swap is still pretty nice though. Yeah, I'm going to go with those four. Forget Landers and Amoonguss. But in cases like this, if it were a best of 3, I would definitely be considering Landorus and Amoonguss going into games 2 and 3. I would use game 1 to get as much information out as possible from my opponent's end and see which Pokemon are really best suited for his side of the matchup and for my side. You know, as I was doing best of 3 analysis with the recent Brooklyn Premier Challenge, there were a bunch of things that I was talking about. One of them is adjusting, and sometimes you realize there just aren't the right, you know, your Pokemon aren't the right Pokemon to bring into the matchup, so you can immediately know which 4 or maybe which 5 you want to choose from. But games like this, you know, I can immediately tell, wow, Landorus would have been pretty good here if I had it in the back. Fortunately, not the case, though. I'm kind of expecting a fake out immediately from the Raichu onto Kangaskhan. Could also just double edge here. I mean, actually, no, he can't even Earthquake. Unless I missed an Air Balloon, but I don't think I did. So I'm actually just going to launch a double edge here onto Raichu, and I think I want a Trick Room. Yeah. Because even if he... So since he stays in here, if he fakes out the Kangaskhan, he will be faster with Landorus. Unless he's Scar... Excuse me. You know, we do see the fake out come out. Targeting Palkia. Okay, I'm okay with that. What's Landorus going for? Superpower? Oh, wow, he actually did go for a Superpower. Should have knocked me out unless he's Choice Banded. He's Banded? Or he's Life Orbed. Let's see. Wow. Yeah, that's gotta be Banned Landorus. Huh. Was not anticipating that, but nice move. So I would bring in Groudon here, but he's obviously got the Kyogre in the back, so I'll bring in Cresselia here to at least set up Trick Room and get something going. It's a shame, losing Kangaskhan. I didn't go for the fake out onto Landorus because Raichu does have Encore. So here Landorus most likely will be switching out into Kyogre would be my best bet. So I'm going to just Trick Room here and go for a Spatial Rend onto... Let's target the Landorus slot. And if he stays in, sure, he gets a Superpower off, but he's at -1. Though I guess you can Superpower and Electric type attack Raichu or Palkia for a good amount of damage. But nope, he does withdraw it there, so that's fine. Hopefully Kyogre's coming in here. It's actually going to be Altaria, okay. It's not Fairy type right now, so Spatial Rend might actually just pick up the knockout. Let's see. Oh, Flame King's Rock, nice! So that flinches me, which is really cool, but does Mental Alert prevent that? I don't think so. Pretty sure it doesn't. Alright, so I do get the Spatial Rend off against Altaria. Nice, picking up the one-hit KO. Excellent. So at least trading knockouts now after I lost my Mega Kangaskhan. Yeah, Cresselia does flinch here. So King's Rock is pretty cool. It's something I should have mentioned on the Raichu, but it's one of its options, and you do get another turn of flinching. So you get Fake Out, and then you do that. So that prevents the Trick Room from going up, but it doesn't really help him too much. Me eliminating Altaria is also kind of a big deal, because it means that now, you know, the Weather War is significantly more into my favor, given that I do have Skill Swap. So he brings in the Landorus, but now all I have to do is go for the Trick Room and Protect. However, one reason don't really want to protect here is because he could Encore me if he gets a flinch. I think his move right now, honestly, is the Rock Slide. So, to counteract that, I'm actually just going to Spatial Rend Trick Room. Even if I lose Palkia here, like Cresselia Groudon can carry me through the game, assuming his last one is Kyogre, since I have Skill Swap, so he doesn't have the advantage in terms of Weather Wars. When you don't have Skill Swap, you do have to be a lot more careful, or other moves such as Role Play, just because of the fact that you don't have a way to have your support Pokemon reset the weather up. In this case, it's more helpful in my favor, because even if you switch in Kyogre, I can immediately reset the weather, which is why it's kind of fun having Skill Swap on Cresselia. Not to mention the fact, as we demonstrated in the last game, getting rid of the ground immunity is a huge deal. Looks like we actually are going to see a Volt Tackle come out, though, targeting the Cresselia. So, Volt Tackle being a common option, I think, really to deal with Kyogres. And Landorus actually goes for the U-turn here. So, Choice Band U-turn, not going to be enough to knock out Cresselia, but does do a ton of damage there. So, nice move. And, yeah, pretty interesting to see ban Landorus in general, since Assault Vest / Life Orb seem to be the more common ones. Choice Scarf really kind of obscure now, since you don't really need that extra speed. Back in 2015, of course, very common to outspeed common Pokemon like Kangaskhan, Charizard, etc. So, my opponent does reveal his last Pokemon to be Kyogre, which I'm okay with, but he's not going to be able to flinch me here, so going to be able to get the Trick Room up guaranteed, and Spatial Rend, high possibility of connecting here. Fortunately, doesn't miss, so Palkia here is going to be able to get the Spatial Rend off. Going to target down the Raichu. Let's see if it's enough to knock it out, as it is. Picks up the knockout. I do set up Trick Room, and now it's 3-2 in my favor, and I have the Weather War completely won. So, would be kind of difficult to lose this one, like, especially given that I know the fact he's choice banded with the Landers. What I'm going to do this next turn is I'm just going to Ice Beam Landers and protect Palkia, sacrifice the Cresselia, get the free switching into Groudon, and then Eruption plus Spatial Rend wins me the game. So, pretty quick game, honestly. But, you know, that's the case with these matches. I think if you think your turn's out fully, like, and play it smartly, a lot of games are very one-sided. But that's not the case. I think, like, everyone thinks this format's just super quick all the time, but if you actually look over the matches I had from the Brooklyn Premier Challenge, especially the best of 3 sets, like against Philip in top 4 and against John, they were both all pretty long. Like, I had some 15-minute games in those. So against opponents where you have the better team matchup, or if you just play smartly and, you know, execute your strategy, you can easily work things out. In this game, despite having a quick 4-3 deficit, I was able to figure out that the Landers was choice banded. The Spatial Rend slot targeting there was kind of a big deal as well. And the reason I made that play was because I figured he'd want to switch out Landers, and I had to punish the Kyogre or the Altaria switch in should he have brought in either. And that exactly worked out the way I wanted it to. So I'm going to go for the Protect with Palkia here just so I can sacrifice the Cresselia. I actually don't knock out Landers, but I don't have very much special attack investment. The Kyogre here Ice Beams the Cresselia, and actually looks like we got a disconnection there, unfortunately. But, yeah, not very much you could have done there, especially given that my last one was the Groudon. Looks like he was really overextending on hoping Groudon would switch in there, but there's no reason to carelessly give in my Groudon, so that probably explains the DC on my opponent's end. Realizing that, yeah, there was no way to win. So it would have been more fulfilling to have actually won that one, but since this episode's pretty short, let's fit in a third game, given that it's only 16 minutes in so far. But yeah. That last game, like I mentioned, you know, that's why you should never worry about a deficit. A lot of the times, players will overextend to get a knockout on the first turn, and my opponent didn't overextend there, but when you figure out whether they have a choice item, that's a huge momentum swing into your favor, because you can use that advantage. Whoa. Why is my opponent's trainer name like that? I'm scared. Hey guys, we're back with the third game. I actually got my recording cut off, unfortunately, because of the fact that I ran into one of those trainers that completely glitch out your game and allows, like, you just go to a black screen after you choose your Pokemon. So, unfortunately, we weren't able to get the third game, and so did have to edit the recording a little bit. Hope you don't mind. We do find Ben from Missouri with a rating of 1503 for our last opponent of today's episode. Ben's rocking, I think this is the team that Marcus was using. Might have been a Japanese team, but Marcus Statra, of course, 13 Yoshi 37, very excellent player from Europe. Check out his YouTube channel, by the way. It's in the description below. Making a lot of good VGC 2016 content. But it's a pretty cool team with Groudon and Yveltal. The Mega of choice is Mawile, Crobat, Liepard, and Togekiss to round things up. So let's see. What do I want to lead with here? He does have the Intimidate option from Mawile, which is pretty scary. My Groudon's kind of a big deal here. I feel like the skill swap strategy will work again, but I do have to be very careful here since he can flinch me with Togekiss, he can taunt me with Crobat, and fake me out with the Liepard. So, kind of still want to just lead Kangaskhan Cresselia. Though Liepard Yveltal was a really scary lead. Yeah, let's still go with Cresselia though. Actually, I kind of like Cresselia Mungus for once. Kangaskhan's not that great in this matchup. Palkia's decent, I guess. But I kind of want my own Landers for the Intimidate. Yeah, honestly, I don't see too much reason to bring Palkia here, other than dealing with this Groudon, which I guess is a big enough reason. But I'll go with the Intimidate, so we'll lock in and let's see how this third battle goes. So, hope you guys enjoyed this episode, fit with 3 games. Of course, it is a little bit longer, so able to do that. But yeah, that kind of sucks. I was recording and I ran into one of those like glitchy trainers that we've seen on BattleSpot. Like people hack their game in order to do that, and really sucks because you obviously lose rating points for it, and it also just messes up everything. So we see the Liepard Yveltal lead from my opponent. Now, I'm actually not very familiar with Yveltal in terms of its typical moveset, but I just know it's really threatening right now. What can I do here? I mean, I guess I'll Trick Room Spore. Yeah, honestly, I like that. I don't think he can one-hit KO either of my Pokemon, and Liepard's probably going to fake out, as he does. Unless Oblivion Wing here, or Knockoff knocks out Cresselia. Oh, that's going to knock me out, isn't it? Forgot Knockoff. Just Life Orbed. Yep. Okay, not all hope is lost, though, because I do get the switch into my Groudon, and I can go for the Eruption. But I totally forgot about knockoff, and that just shows my inexperience playing against Yveltal. But good to note. The fact that one-hit KOs Cresselia too is so powerful. So I could have actually switched out into Landorus and gone for the Trick Room, which would have been kind of nice. But now I don't even have the Trick Room option anymore, which really sucks. Or the Skill Swap option, so beating his Landorus is going to be incredibly difficult. But here I'm just going to go for the Eruption and the Rage Powder, I think. Yeah. Though I think if my opponent's smart, he's going to switch out one of the two Pokemon and maybe protect the Yveltal. I'd be surprised if he just lets me KO Yveltal and bring Liepard down to its Focus Sash. Best case scenario is Yveltal going for attack and Liepard like switching out. The thing is, since Yveltal is physically based, he does have knockoff, and that does get rid of my Citrus Berry onto Amoonguss as well, but at least I still have Regenerator to help me out a little bit. But that turn 1 was pretty terrible, and unlike the other game where I was able to turn things into my advantage, like, I got nothing out of that turn other than figuring out Yveltal's item. And he is going to go for the Protect play, which I'm actually not too... That's not too bad, unless he's got Taunt with Liepard, which he probably does. If that's the case, this is pretty scary. Let's see. Does he have Taunt? Yep, there's the Taunt. I'm assuming he has Focus Sash as well. So I get the Eruption off. Protect's kind of obvious on my Groudons, and next turn, there's the Sash. Yep. So Protect Eruption would have been the play there. That actually would have been something that would have gotten me back into this match. Yeah, when you're behind, you need to think about the best plays, and that wasn't the best play. Could switch into my Landorus. But I can't protect. He knows that I can't protect, though. Could protect Grass, not Liepard. Yeah, let's do that. No. Because then he gets a free switching into Groudon. Ugh. Maybe I'll just attack here. I'll just Flamethrower Grass Knot. Sure. Okay, he switches out. And that's a start. Into what, his Groudon? Well, Grass Knot at least does some damage, but Earth Power there would have been so clutch. Though, maybe I'll put it into... Nah, Earthquake shouldn't still knock... It still shouldn't knock out, excuse me. I presume he's going for knockoff onto Amoonguss, which actually might knock me out since he's Life Orbed, and he goes for the Tailwind. Nice. Very nice. So I at least get a lot of damage back, but that Tailwind basically means I probably can't win this game. Get a crit Flamethrower and it still doesn't knock out Yveltal. Literally hangs out with like 1 HP. Man, that thing is bulky. Grass Knot does some damage, but not enough. I mean, here you probably just go for, Actually, I'm kind of curious. You go either for a Fire-type attack onto Amoonguss and risk my Groudon knocking you out, or you go for the safer play and use a Ground-type attack. I shall switch into Landorus and a Grass Knot. Yes. I don't think I can win this one. If you didn't have Tailwind, maybe I could have pulled something off since Landorus would have been able to outspeed, and that means I can get Rock Slides and Earthquakes off, but in this game, not the case, I don't think. But let's see. So I'm going to get the Intimidate off here. If he goes for the Precipice Blades, maybe, or an Earth Power, but if he goes for a Fire-type attack, like, this game is just over outright. Actually, no, he should have gone for the Fire-type attack. It would have been, yeah. It's kind of obvious, but what can you do? And the reason why I say that's the better play for him to make is because of the fact that as I'm going to lose my Landorus here as well, is because you know the Amoonguss is taunted, so you can safely double up into that slot. I mean, if I had Palkia, then I could have pulled something off. But the thing is, even a knockoff plus a Eruption does like 50+% to Palkia. So maybe the play was to sacrifice... Because, actually, yeah, if his last Pokemon was Mawile, then I actually could have won the game there. Or pulled the comeback by going for the Earth Power, switching into my Landorus, sacrificing Landorus, then going for Groudon Amoonguss in the late game. Because that actually wins me the matchup, so that's what I should have done. So despite it being 3-1 and my opponent looking like he is obviously going to win this game, had I gone for that play, could have pulled something off there. Especially if his last Pokemon's Mawile. Unfortunately, not going to find out, but pretty curious about that. Now, let's see what ground type attack he has. And he has Earth Power as well. Okay. Yeah, so I'm bulky enough to survive that, but I obviously can't do anything against the Liepard because if I protect, then he just encores me. So, very great game by my opponent's end, and that's because the lead match was really bad. I played terribly against the Yveltal. Knockoff I think is the standard for it, but I was expecting like an Oblivion Wing or something like that. So very well done on my opponent's end there, but this is good experience, and that's why it's nice to just play games early on and figure things out. So I'm still okay with that. Our record with the team is 4-1 in the first 2 episodes, so not too bad. We're gonna probably play maybe 2 more episodes with the team, and then we'll switch to something else. Like I said, I like to hit the 1600s before switching. But yeah, gonna be it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Excuse me. Sorry that the video had to be slightly cut off. I'm kind of frustrated that I ran into that team in the first place. The glitchy team that crashes your game. But yeah, it's going to be it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like always if you did. And I really hope you enjoyed the 3-game episode today. And we'll be back with another episode tomorrow. Alright, peace.